Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stacey Flowers and I am a student of Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University, and I am on a journey to become 100% debt free. I am currently on baby step number 2 to repay 100% of all my debts, and my debt is nearly $200,000. My income is $2,000 and I work part-time in my own company. In this video, I'm going to be going over my September 2018 budget report card. So if you're interested in that, please keep watching. So I'm super excited to be back chatting with you guys. I tried to get the lines out of the video and I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure out the lighting and I just wanted to be here. So, I apologize for how that's showing up if it's a little bit weird, but I'm excited to be chatting with you guys. I'm excited to get into this budget. I know you guys are going to ask about my desktop background. It is from the Every Girl. I will put a link in the description box below for you to be able to access it. One of the things that I like to do for every budget is just go over a few reflection questions, so I can track more than just my dollars and cents, because I find that that keeps me motivated to keep going on this journey. So my first question is, what am I grateful for? And the number one thing that I'm grateful for this month is my company and my clients. I am so grateful for the amount of people who are electing to invest in my services and in my products. It is an amazing feeling to create something and then put it out there in the marketplace, and the marketplace says, yes, I want this thing that you've created. That is an amazing, incredible feeling. And every time someone from the community or anyone in general converts into a client and sows into my company, I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, this is so incredible. So I'm super grateful for both my company and my clients. I'm also grateful for this community here on YouTube. And I separate you guys from my clients because not all of you guys, buy my products and services, but you are part of this community, and there's something magical that's happening in this community that is beyond just how you guys are holding me accountable, how you guys are encouraging me. There's something else magical that's happening in terms of the dialogue that you guys are having amongst each other and about the changes and the shifts that you're making in your life. And I'm just so grateful that, one, you guys come to show up and support the content that I'm producing, but two, that the content that I'm producing is the catalyst for conversations that many of you guys are saying you just never would have had, or you never would have thought about, or so on and so forth. So I'm super grateful that you guys show up and show out as a community, because not every community talks to each other, and then not every community supports one another, and you guys do an amazing job of supporting me and supporting other people that show up as well. So I'm super grateful for you guys for that. The third thing that I'm grateful for is the health and vitality of my son. My son is really healthy. He is doing really, really good, and I mean mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, he's doing really well. And he's 16, and 16 in this century is a little bit interesting and difficult for a lot of teenagers. Teenage years are challenging, present their own challenges in general, but my son is doing very, very well in this season of his life, and I'm just so grateful that he's healthy. I'm so grateful that he is not facing a lot of the challenges that many teens face that just is devastating. It's so much. So I'm just super grateful for that. It warms my heart every time I chat with him, and it's not without difficulty. It isn't to say that he's perfect and we don't have any problems. It's just to say that he's healthy and he is vibrant in this season of his life, and that is amazing for me. So what worked this month? Something that worked was getting paid once, and it worked in the sense that because I only got paid once, I just didn't have the stress of when and who and how much. I didn't, those other nuanced itty bitty pieces of stress that I never noticed before, because I was used to being paid bi-weekly. There is a little bit of stress with having to manage it when it comes in, and this month, because there was just one time that I got paid, it was oh, okay, well, this is the order, go ahead and pay that in that order. So that sort of worked this month, especially since there was a discrepancy between what I anticipated earning this month and what I actually earned this month. So that's something that worked this month. What didn't work this month specifically is me not doing a budget report card, a proper budget report card for August, or a budget report card at all for July, which I didn't realize I didn't do a budget report card for July, but I didn't. And then I didn't do a proper budget report card for August in terms of me just tracking my numbers. And so not having that history, it was, I mean, in my mind, I'm like, oh, it's a clean slate, but it's not really a clean slate, because each month, although it's unique and different and deserves its own budget, it is connected to the previous month, because what's not done the month before shows up in this month. And so I just need to be mindful, you know, in all the content that I was producing in July, I think I just forgot. And then in August, I was overwhelmed because I was sick, I was transitioning, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I just need to be mindful that no matter what, it just needs to get done, because it's going to show up anyway. And it's easier to deal with it if you just deal with it in the month, no matter how stressful it may seem. What do I need to start doing? I don't think that I should start doing anything new. I think I should just maintain some of the things that I've tried to implement and allow the transition from working for someone else to working for myself to solidify, so that things are less unstable or wobbly. What do I need to stop doing? The main thing that I need to stop doing is just get out of my head. Like, I produced one piece of content for you guys last month in terms of editing and stuff. I know I did the live videos, but I only produced one piece of content last month, and that was like difficult because I really like producing this content, and it is a part of my company. And so now getting back into the swing of it, I'm super in my head, and I just need to get out of my head and just do my thing. What is my October intention? My October intention is to add more profit generating systems to my company. And yeah, that it's just more profit generating systems. And the reason why that intention is important is because I understand that the more systems I have in my company supporting me, the more I'll be able to scale. And the more I can scale my company, the more I can earn and ultimately put towards repaying my debt. So those are my reflection questions. Without further ado, let's jump over my shoulder and take a look at the numbers. Okay, so if you're taking a look at the budget, it shows that I have an every dollar budget, and this every dollar green check mark is based on the paper budget report card that I do in my monthly budget with me live. So it is an every dollar budget based on where I spent the money that I planned on earning at the beginning of the month. And so if you come over here to the salary, you see that I plan to earn $2,000 and I actually received $1,714.56. And the reason for that discrepancy, as I explained in this month's budget with me live, is that my accountant originally sent over what my salary would be, which is just typical. However, I did not give my accountant an update on me no longer working at my part-time job, which has an impact on me transitioning to working in my company part-time because of the additional resources and tools that we opted to add to that month's budget. So I get paid a percentage of my profit. When I create expenses for my company, that reduced my profit. So it was not an accounting error. It was simply an error of I didn't really know that I was going to need a few resources until I was actually operating my business, you know, Monday through Friday without having any additional sources of income or any interruptions. The other amazing thing that happened this month is that this community was extraordinary in their monetary and in-kind gifts. So I received $945.30 in monetary gifts this month from this community. I believe specifically everyone is here from YouTube. People did contact me on my Instagram account, but I believe that they were original YouTubers who came over to my Instagram account. And this was from various different people. Some people gave the gift with specific stipulations, like I want you to spend this and get yourself some fall sweaters. I want you to spend this on food. I want you to spend this on whatever you want to spend it on. So that amount of generosity that came pouring in this month in monetary donations completely blew my mind. And as you can see, the discrepancy between what I planned and what I earned, and then ultimately the numbers down here, it was a massive help to me just being able to make this transition this month in from working part-time for someone else to working part-time for my company. So thank you to every single one of you all who contributed to that number and who you know, continues to encourage me to do this work and my work overall through your generous donations. I so appreciate you guys. I love you so much. So that's really awesome. For my tithes, this is tithes, and then CCI is child support, commission, and income. What I need to start doing is, before I pay these two priorities, I need to actually look at the actual budget and see what I wrote down, because I understand that I didn't pay 200 because I didn't bring in 200, but I should have paid 170 because that's at least 10%, and I didn't do that here. I did 160 for my tithe and 160 for my child support, commission, and iTunes account for my son. And then for my son, you can see here that I sent an additional $100 just for some things that he needed for the month. But I just think that these two errors, like last month I paid $5 over, this month I paid $10 under. So I think I just need to look at my piece of paper before I send my tithe, like in my child support period, so that way my numbers are more accurate. I returned the $240 to my emergency fund that was spent in August, bringing my emergency fund back up to $500. You can see my balance is $500 there. Coming down to housing, I paid my rent, and then if you look here, you see that my electricity bill and my gas bill are over, and that is because I didn't pay my electricity or my gas for August, and there were fees associated with that. Plus, for my electricity, when I didn't pay the bill for August, I was kicked out of the budget plan, and so I had to pay for the actual usage, if that makes sense, for the following month. And so that's why that number is a little bit higher. Gas, I'm still on the budget, but there were late fees included. And so the combination of my salary and the generosity, I was able to become current on both of those expenses, and that's why there was more money sent for those two expenses. I paid my cell phone bill of $35.82, and then gas, I budget $20, and my second gas is cooking gas, which is calculated based on the apartment complex. I don't have any control over that. Like, even if I didn't cook a single thing, I still would get a cooking gas bill. So I do cook, so my cooking gas was $19.14 this month. Groceries, at the beginning of the month, or before the month began, I anticipated spending $50. As the month wore on, and I realized that my eating habits were dramatically different because I wasn't going into my part-time job. I knew that I was going to need more food, and because I was dealing with some emotional stuff that was actually really a separate issue than transitioning from my part-time job that just came up. When I got paid, gave myself an increase to $75. And of the $75, I spent $74.31. My transportation was planned $50, and I spent $23.80. And a lot of that is just because I didn't do very much this month in the city. And so I was under budget there. My renter's insurance is $575. My life insurance, I paid last month. This month, there was something that the underwriter wanted to examine, and so they didn't withdraw the life insurance premium for this month. Hopefully that will be back in effect next month, but I will keep you guys posted if anything shifts or changes there. Therapy, I didn't realize that I didn't actually plan to go to therapy for last month. Don't know why I did that, but I did wind up going 3 times, and that came up to $210. And I do believe, so had it not been for the generosity of this community, that would have turned into an invoice that I then would have just made payments on. And I'm grateful that the community was super generous, and it didn't have to turn into an invoice or a debt that I would try to get paid off, because therapy was necessary for me this month. So I'm super grateful for that. Hygiene, I originally planned to spend $70, and I planned on doing a video and a haul for you guys to kind of see me do what I would sort of, not bulk purchase, but just me stocking up on my pantry. However, again, the generosity of someone in the community sent me a bulk order of all of my personal hygiene needs, from like toilet tissue to moisturizer for my skin. And when I say bulk, I mean they sent me enough to minimum last me 2 months for some of the products, and probably like 3 to 4 months for some of the other products. So they sent me a huge heaping of awesome, amazing things. And it was also really beautiful because it was all my brand preferred products. So it wasn't like they just decided, well, you're going to use this lotion. They specifically asked me what brands I prefer, and they sent me those brands. And that's just incredible. That level of generosity just blows my mind. So that was an amazing in-kind gift. But before that gift was received, I didn't know that that was coming. So I was already beginning to spend the 70 that I had planned. And so of the 70 that I had planned, I spent $17.47. But I won't have a personal hygiene budget for a few months. Household pantry, I didn't spend the budget that was anticipated there. I just didn't have a need for like trash bags and just different things like that. So I just didn't spend it. I did give myself the $10 in pocket money. If you move on down to my debts, you can see in my September budget, I originally planned to play zero because I was really hoping that the finishing of August, even though I wasn't closely looking at my numbers, I would have paid it off. I did not pay it off. And so this month, to pay it off, I wound up paying $364.43. And I think that one of the reasons I was obviously able to pay it off is because of the generosity of the community, but also I think it's because of their generosity replacing me needing to fund other categories. I had more money in my account to be able to put towards this debt. And you know, it was just an incredible feeling to be able to see that debt be zero and just know that it's zero moving forward. So in my original budget, with the idea that my PayPal would have been paid off, I was going to put the remainder that I had left in my budget on my City Girl, which would have been $192.99. Obviously, that is not how my budget worked out because I only brought in $1,700 versus the $2,000, and so the payment that I wound up making to City Girl was $75. So total debt that I paid this month was the $75 plus the $364, which, if you're looking at the numbers, it's a pretty large amount. And again, I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without the generosity of this community. So I appreciate you all for you know, sewing into my life and trusting me to do the right thing with the resources that you offer. I did actually add my other debts to this list. So I have my IRS debt that's listed here. I don't know, that's not the correct balance. So I don't have my correct balances in there yet. So my next budget, I'll have my correct balances, but I included my IRS debt because I have been in communication with them. There's still another part of the audit that I'm going through, but there's still a part of the audit that I'm going through, but there's undisputed amounts, like, so there's state and federal. So there's undisputed amounts that I can begin to make payments on. And so the minimum monthly payment on that is going to be $25. And I'm hoping that it starts next month, but it just depends on when they get back to me. The BCD debt, which is a business debt, there is no minimum payment on that debt. I did speak with the company that this is indebted to, and no interest, $5,000, and I can set up a minimum payment with them. Their suggestion was just to start the repayment at the beginning of the next year so that I could concentrate my efforts. So I'll likely do that, but I do want to list it here just so I can be very clear on my debts. Then I have my direct subsidized consolidated student loan. That debt is in here. The minimum payment on that debt is about $600. And then I have my direct unsub consolidated loan, and the minimum debt on that, or the minimum payment on that, is $1,000. So I just wanted to start having my debts that I actually need to pay be listed. Hopefully within next month, some of these will be filled in. My consolidated loans, those payments won't begin until next year, but I still want to just visually begin to look at them. And then also, I really like the idea that inside of the every dollar, it shows you where you are. So I say $500 because my income is under $2,000. I'm bumping that up to $1,000, so it shows that I have $500 left to save. But then also over here, it calculates the debt. So I have 6 debts, $196.40. $196,000.40. you guys see this number here. It's not accurate because some of the numbers on the debt snowball aren't accurate, but I just like the way that it's like adding it up. And the reason this isn't accurate is because until I get the final number on my IRS, I really won't know what the final number of debt that I have. And this total is not including collection. This is just including current debts. And then the amount paid off, the 439, which that number is a little bit off. But this number is only off the amount paid off because I didn't start using every dollar until February, but I started paying on debt from October forward, if that makes sense. So I just kind of like that it literally outlines the baby steps and it just adds up that whole number. And I just want to see that looking like that moving forward. So that is my September 2018 budget report card. If I was going to give myself a grade, I would give myself, just off the top of my head, I would give myself a C. And again, the reason for the C is because I'm making small errors, like just not paying what I said I was going to pay towards child support and tithes. Those small errors. I did go over budget in a couple of different categories. And yeah, and I think the reason why it's not a D is because I'm not spending frivolously. Like, I didn't take money that was gifted to me and then, you know, go on a shopping spree. Did I want to? Yes, but I didn't do that. I put it where I told myself I would put extra money if I earned it. I think also, you know, it's not a lower grade than a C because I'm giving myself the grace for transitioning from working for a company part-time to working for myself, and understanding that although I have someone managing my business accounts, I'm still trying to, like, you know, I'm running a whole entire into entrepreneurship is like a feat in and of itself. And the pressure and the stress that comes from that is very challenging. And at this time, that's my only source of income. And so there's some errors that I make just in regards to holding space for both my company and then holding space for my personal finance. But I'm going to give myself some grace for that. And at the end of the day, I paid the expenses that I planned on paying, and I allocated the funds in a really good place. And if you are doing the math, you'll see that there is an amount that's left over, and at this time I haven't allocated it for anything. It's just going to be in my checking account, so that way as the next month unfolds, I have resources to be able to pay for things. And if it proves that, you know, I don't need it for anything, because I don't want to have to keep going into my emergency fund, right? Ideally I could just take what's left over in my checking account and put it in my emergency fund. But again, the stability of my company is still a little bit unknown, or the stability of my income is unknown as it relates to my company. And so rather than putting something into my savings, I'd rather leave it in my checking account. If something comes up, manage it, plan for it that way. And then if nothing comes up, then maybe, you know, halfway through the month, I'd put half of that into my emergency fund, and then by the end of the month I put the other half. Does that make sense? It's like, instead of bringing the floor of my checking account down to zero, I realize, you know, doing only entrepreneurship, I can't afford to do that professionally or personally. I mean, I probably couldn't afford to do it before, but I really realize it now. So that's just something that I wanted to acknowledge. So my grade for this month is a C. I'm excited about the next month coming up, and, you know, I deeply appreciate you guys for supporting my work. You know, I love, and this is just an aside. I want to, you know, I definitely acknowledge the group of people who contributed to those significant gifts, but I acknowledge all of you all, because you all watching my videos, you all leaving comments, you liking, you sharing, there was somebody who said, you know, I watch, you know, the full video and I click on it sometime. All of that stuff serves me as well, and I deeply appreciate you all for going out of your way to support my work, whether you are watching, commenting, liking, sharing, sending in-kind or monetary gifts. I am so grateful for you all supporting my work and encouraging me on this audacious journey. I don't know how to express my gratitude enough, but I am so grateful. So thank you for that, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye.